Workers who may have gotten sick after working construction at the Dryden mill 20 years ago are invited to come and share their stories at a virtual town hall as part of the Dryden RB4 air emissions project.
Lots of nasal congestion and raw throat. A little bit of bloody stuff coming out of my nose occasionally. Coughing up huge phlegm balls. And we called it the Weyerhaeuser flu.
Tudoracci says his symptoms only got worse from there. He was one of hundreds of workers who built the Weyerhaeuser recovery boiler number 4 between 2002 and 2004 while the mill continued running. He says the smoke was sometimes so thick they couldn't see each other as they worked. Tudoracci says he was part of several informal walkouts as he and other workers started to get sick.
The particulate fallout and the gases were coming like right over top of our heads the whole time we worked there. And then the guys that would stay when everybody walked out were some of the guys that got the sickest. There's a few that aren't here now.
Tudoracci believes management was aware that working conditions were unsafe, and he hopes to see someone take responsibility. Tuesday's virtual town hall is open to the public, with friends and families of affected workers strongly encouraged to attend. Details are available at thunderbayinjuredworkers.com. Following a landslide victory, Dryden's new mayor Jack Harrison was sworn in on Tuesday, the first time politician beat out former councillor Shane McKinnon with 69% of the vote.
This is my first venture into politics from working in the forest industry in the business world. So just like starting a new job, it's all new and wonderful and excited to get started.
Harrison says he's no stranger to a steep learning curve and has already been studying the city's strategic plan. Over the next 4 years, he wants to prioritize fiscal responsibility and maintaining public services, as well as looking at waterfront development and increasing long-term care beds. He also wants to see special treatment for Dryden when it comes to possible nuclear waste site nearby.
We want to ensure that this site is absolutely safe for our water supply and for our area. And if we don't feel it is, then we will be making presentations to the environmental hearing to stop it if we feel that it's not going to be beneficial for us from an environmental point of view.
With the proximity of the site to Dryden, Harrison believes many workers would opt to live in the city rather than in Ignace, and says he will apply for funding to study the potential cost and benefits. The new mayor and council in Atikokan were also sworn in this week. Two-term councillor Rob Ferguson won the mayor's chair in last month's election. He's now taking the reins from longtime mayor Denise Brown, who chose to retire from politics. Jonathan Wilson reports.
It was bittersweet taking over from Mayor Brown.
Rob Ferguson knows he has some big shoes to fill as he replaces Dennis Brown as mayor of Atikokan. Brown spent 4 decades on the town council, including 25 years as reeve or mayor. But now that he's in his 80s, Brown decided it was time to take a step back.
And I've known Mayor Brown for 50 years of my life, so I have a good relationship with Mayor Brown, and I would have never ran if Mayor Brown was going again, but since Mayor Brown decided not to go, I thought it was my time to step in and take the reins.
And Rob was on council for 8 years, and he certainly helped us out, and I'm glad he's the mayor now. He'll certainly help Atikokan.
The new Atikokan Council was sworn in on Monday and includes 4 new town councillors and 3 veterans, including Ferguson. He says they have a good mix of young and old, and he wants to get all council members more involved in shaping Atikokan's future.
We're trying to find some efficiencies on the council side, and as well as transparency and accountability is what the residents wanted, and we want to move the town ahead for a new industry, kind of modernize things, and bring more people in town.
Ferguson is currently the senior manager of maintenance and production at the OPG power plant just outside Atikokan. He says he got the blessing of his employer to run for mayor and sees the 2 roles working hand in hand.
What's good for Atikokan is good for Atikokan GS and vice versa. So there's a lot of synergies working between the two. I can bring a lot of good things to the town through OPG and vice versa for OPG from the town. So yeah, it's going to be busy.
And if things get a little too busy, Brown says his phone line is always open for Ferguson to call. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Earlier this week, officials from the town of Marathon and the Marathon Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation came together to break ground on a new $21 million housing project. The 50-unit, 50,000 square foot multifamily housing complex is an effort to address the community's ever-growing need for affordable housing. Project leaders are promising that at least 30% of the units will be priced at a rental cost of less than 80% market value. It's a project that Marathon Mayor Rick Dumas believes will more than accommodate the needs of the community, both now and for years to come.
But also the more exciting the fact is that there's 50 units, 52 bedroom units with a really modern looking building that's going to be developed and built for all the needs of our community, not just the lower income individuals, but also market driven individuals as well.
The Gendron North Shore Living Complex is expected to be ready for its first occupants in about 15 months. An official ceremony was held Wednesday to announce that Wigi-Wagnog Limited Partnership is taking over as landlord of the Stantec office in Innova Park. That's a partnership between the Beektigong Nishnawbeg and Fort William First Nations with the goal of investing in rental properties to help contribute to Thunder Bay's economy. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held to mark the occasion, featuring representatives from both First Nations and Stantec. It will still mean business as usual at Stantec, but with two First Nations now as landlords for the Innovative Drive office, Fort William First Nation Councillor Michelle Solomon says the benefits will extend to future generations.
This is a wonderful opportunity for both First Nations and our people to develop economic opportunities for the future of our children.
It is exciting, and we plan on expanding not only within Thunder Bay but within the other municipalities as well. Like I said in there, Sault Ste. Marie, Toronto, Ottawa, it's limitless. The
First Nations Partnership is currently considering a building on Court Street, hoping to use it for affordable housing and office space. After the break, we'll take a look at the recent NAN Housing Summit.